This is the Moshpit Backstage podcast for punk, metal and rock interviews and segments.
Hey, this is Sabian from Alpha Wolf, and you're listening to the Moshpit on SYN.
If you're experiencing any issues with mental health, remember you can call a number of different organisations. Beyond Blue on 1300 22 46 36, Kids Helpline on 1800 55 1800, Lifeline on 131114. Sabian Lynch is guitarist for Melbourne band Alpha Wolf, whose debut album Mono will be released on July 14th. They'll be supporting Thy Art Is Murder through July and August, playing in Melbourne at Max Watts on July 29th. Sabian, thank you so much for joining me.
Oh, thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. Now let's go back to the beginning before we talk about the album. How did the band get started?
The band started with three of our members, myself, and Jackson, the drummer, and John, our bass player. We started in a rural town, Burnie in Tasmania, and we just jammed around Tassie for a year or two until I came over to Melbourne and tried to push this basically across Australia for a bit. So we slugged it out. The boys flew over and we toured a little bit until we decided we wanted to change the line-up a bit, and we introduced Scotty, the new guitarist, and Aidan, our now frontman, and John went down to bass. And we started writing for this album and basically got everything going to get where we are now.
The name, Alpha Wolf, how'd you come across that?
Alpha Wolf actually came from a movie we all enjoyed a couple of years ago, The Grey, the one with Liam Neeson in it, and he battles off against the Alpha Wolf at the end, and we kind of thought it was cool, and turns out no other band had that name, so we just nabbed it and went with it.
In terms of the kind of sound that you guys play, what sort of influences went into that?
I remember probably about 4 years ago now, myself and John, we saw heavy band Amua play in Melbourne, and at that point we decided we wanted to be as heavy as we possibly could. So we wrote an EP, tried to make it heavy, and from then we've just developed ourselves, gone from different heavy bands, and they introduced some melody recently. We're just kind of writing what feels right for our lyrics.
Now, in terms of the album, in terms of writing, where did you first start writing the album? Was there a point where you're like, all right, let's start working on the album? Have these tracks always sort of been flowing around? How is that all working?
When we introduced Scotty, the other guitarist, we all just started writing. We really needed new material, and Scotty had a bit of past material, and we were just working at it. We never really spoke of doing an album until probably 3 or 4 months into writing, and we just kept writing as much as we could. We ended up with probably 16 to 20 demo tracks before deciding on our 12 tracks for the album. And, you know, it's kind of like our staple to put into the scene that here we are, here's 12 songs with our brand new lineup. And it kind of cements us as a proper band, I guess.
With writing the music, what kind of approach do you take? Is it something collaborative? Is it something that one or two members do? Do you all sort of bring something to the table? How does it work between you guys?
This time around, we all found it easier to write in our own spaces. So instrumentally, I would write a couple of tracks or demos, and Scotty would write his tracks and demo them together, and then we'd bring it all together and bump heads together to see if we had any ideas to further the song. And then we added lyrics on top, and that worked out fine. But then later on, we found that we wanted to write some songs to the lyrics. So if we had a certain theme within the lyrics, we would find the best sort of sound of music to go along with that. And we ended up writing one song on the spot in the studio when we was recording Mono. We had a set of lyrics written, but we didn't have a piece of music that we thought fit, so we just knuckled down for a full day and wrote what we thought was the perfect piece of music for those lyrics, and we found that to be a great way to write.
For most bands that I interview, they often talk about the lyrics either coming last or the lyrics coming from a specific person who's kind of separate from the main writing process, usually the vocalist. With writing a song to the lyrics, how do you go about that? Because that's kind of very sort of specific task that you're trying to accomplish there.
Yeah, both myself and our vocalist Aidan, we both took on lyric writing for this record. Aidan always has been good with words, and he had a lot of lyrics written up that he just never put to use, and we juggled those around, and he looked at all my lyrics that I had written and fixed them up a bit for me and stuff like that. So, say if the theme was kind of sad, which a lot of our songs are, they do touch on death and loss of love. I guess it kind of helped, like we wanted our minor chords and stuff like that, or if it was a really big angry punchline, we'd want like the heaviest or the angriest riff to accompany that, and then if it goes back to softer spoken type words, we'd then soften it up, or vice versa. If it was heavy and angry the whole way through lyrically, we'd want the heaviest song possible.
You mentioned earlier bringing a bit more melody to this one, and I think this one might be your first to incorporate clean singing. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. Where does that come from? Is that sort of you progressing as songwriters? Were there anything you were listening to, experiencing that sort of contributed to that? Where did that come from?
I guess that's the song we actually wrote in the studio on the spot. So at the time, I think we might have all been listening to some softer albums that might have come out at that point, and the lyrics we had written for the song were a real sad song about a friend that committed suicide. So we just ended up writing this real sad piece of music, I guess, that ended up with a chorus, which we kind of didn't expect. We didn't think we'd go into our album recording and come out with some singing, but it kind of felt right when we were recording, and with the lyrics it felt right, and it came out as it was, and we were proud of that.
Talking a little bit kind of about image, it's sort of secondary in a lot of ways for a band, but it's still incredibly important for a lot of different reasons. You changed up your logo from the sort of curvy and flowy design, something a lot simpler and more austere. What was behind that decision? When did you say, like, guys, I think we need to change it up a bit?
Yeah, we're actually not even happy with our current logo. It's something we've never been able to think of or visualise, so we didn't like the original logo. A lot of people said they couldn't read it, as much as we thought it was very readable, but
by metal band standards, it's incredibly legible.
Oh, yeah. So when we got the whole new lineup, we knew we needed to change that with a new logo. We had a merch design done by a friend of ours, and he used that font for the new logo on a shirt. So we didn't hate it, so we thought we could roll with it, and we're still here. Maybe in the future, if we come across a design or see a logo we like, we might take some inspiration and create a new one, but for now it seems to suit everything we're doing.
I found a video blog documenting your photo shoot for the album promotion. You've got incredible control over the music, but then for a lot of other stuff, like logos, like artwork, like merch, and like photography, you're kind of putting yourself in other people's hand. How do you get your vision of what the band is about to come through in someone else's work?
One thing that we've done in our whole album preparation and the album final now, everything that was done within the album, we let a friend do. So with the recording process, one of our best friends tracked us. One of our best friends then mixed and mastered it. We then had a friend do the artwork and the booklet. And also all our photo shoots and video shoots have all been friends. So rather than paying someone that we've never met that might be a cool designer or whatever, we wanted to keep it all nice and personal, and everything as a whole, it's been a family record. So with the photo shoots and whatnot, we've known our friends and what they're capable of, their previous photo shoots, how it all looks, how they kind of know how we want to look and stuff like that. So in that aspect, it's been real great to work with our friends for everything on this record.
Moving on to your live performances, you supported Aversion's Crown and Boris the Blade, two really awesome bands, on their recent tour. Was that for the first national tour you've been on?
We self-booked a couple of national tours probably 2 years ago, but since that we took a whole year off to write the record, and basically reevaluate everything we were doing, because we felt we weren't ever getting that much traction, and this is something we've always wanted to do. So we knew we needed to change some things up, take the time off, and come back a better and stronger band. So yeah, that was the first national tour of many to come with this brand new lineup.
I believe you played some songs from your new album. Is that correct?
Yeah, we played 2 unreleased tracks on the tour with A Virgin's Crown.
Nice. What was that like, sort of playing songs that people haven't necessarily heard, really anticipating the release of? What's it like playing those tracks?
It was actually real fun for us. We got to kind of vibe the energy and, I guess, finesse how we're going to play them live and stuff like that, and the energy we can give. We kind of decided to not play any of our old material, because we always felt the crowd never enjoyed it that much, but our new material, it's much easier to get into and follow and enjoy, and we enjoy playing it a lot more. So we decided to only play new songs, like the 3 singles that are out now, plus 2 unreleased tracks, and I think we played a stronger set because of that decision.
The music and lyrics for a lot of the songs are very emotive, very personal, intimate in a kind of way. How is it performing them live?
So far, it's felt pretty good. Aidan does do a great job at delivering the emotive side live, and it definitely draws a lot of people in, we've noticed. And I guess that's only going to grow the more songs we start playing live, as we did put a lot into every song on the album, and bringing those out into the live aspect is, I don't know, sometimes it may feel difficult when you're playing it in front of certain people that the songs may be about, or people that know the exact story that we may be singing about. It can be a little bit hard, but I don't know, we really wanted to put ourselves out there, basically.
You're going on another tour quite shortly, supporting Thy Art Is Murder. How do you prepare for a tour like that? What goes into sort of making sure you're ready, sort of personally and kind of musically?
It's funny to say that. When we got offered that tour, we really didn't think we were ready at all, because it's such a high slot for us to come out of nowhere and get given that opportunity. So we're really excited, but every show we played on the Virgin's Crown tour, we filmed the whole set so we can watch back and judge ourselves heavily to improve our performance. And we're making sure we practice twice as much as we ever have done. It's always been hard because we've always had members split across different states, but we all live in Melbourne now, which is going to be a great help for us. Our sound guy comes to our band practices and stuff, and he's very critical of how we're playing and performing and sounding and everything. So that's great to have an extra set of honest ears to judge us, and hopefully we can do it justice and have a good time on tour and not be scared to play in front of Thy Art Is Murder than that.
A couple of quick questions about you. When did you first start listening to heavy music?
I was basically brought up around a lot of hard rock and grunge, with my mum listening to Silverchair and Nirvana and even Metallica and stuff like that. Even my father being a musician, hence he gave me the name Sabian. But I kind of got turned off music for a couple of years at a young age because my parents tried to force it on me a lot. And then it wasn't until my teenage years when I found like Parkway Drive and stuff like that and found my love for it and wanted to play in bands, and it's all I've wanted to do since high school, basically.
What about guitar? When did you start playing that?
Yeah, it would have been around the same time when I started listening to Parkway Drive, and I found a new love for Metallica and listened to all their old stuff and picked up the guitar and wanted to learn all their riffs.
Final question, and I know this can be either very difficult or very easy depending on the person, but do you have any favourite bands or albums?
Favourite bands or albums? I find myself listening to a lot of, these days, it's a lot of Nirvana and Silverchair and Smashing Pumpkins as well, a lot of stuff from the 90s, but then I'll find new modern albums, but I feel as though I lose taste for the modern albums a lot quicker than I do the ones I grew up with. I don't know if that's just because of old love type thing, but yeah, definitely Freak Show and Frog Stomp from Silverchair and Nevermind Nirvana, the favourites.
Alpha Wolf debut album Mono will be released on July 14th. They'll be supporting Thy Art Is Murder through July and August, playing in Melbourne at Max Watts on July 29th. Sabian, thank you so much for joining me. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for listening to the Moshpit Backstage podcast. You can subscribe to us on iTunes and Omni. To find out more about the show, go to www.syn.org.au/moshpit. Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/moshpitonsyn and follow us on Twitter and Instagram at moshpitsyn. The regular Moshpit radio show broadcasts punk, rock and metal tunes and interviews every Thursday nights on Syn 9.7 on FM and digital radios. Listeners outside of Melbourne, Australia can stream Syn 9.7 online at www.syn.org.au. Thanks to Vintage Ruin for the music.
Hi, this is Tomato from Flashgun Apocalypse.
Hi, I'm Enid from Girls School.
I am Phoebe Pinnock from Heavenly Axe.
Hey, this is Gary Oldmead of the Misfits.
Hey, this is Kat Sproul from Horizon's Edge, and you're listening to the Moshpit on Syn FM.
Hi, this is Einar from Leopard.
Hi, I'm Virginia Lilly from the band Lily.
This is Raul from 1349.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Ali from Zebrahead.
Hey, everybody, this is Charlie Benante with Anthrax, and you are listening to the Moshpit on Syn.